Hi. So the university recommends Shotcut for editing videos, and I've used it a little bit. I'm no expert. I've used it a little bit, and I've figured out a few basics that you need to edit lectures. So this is just my quickie catch-up video on how to do it. So when you open Shotcut, this is what it looks like. There's an area here with your recent projects that you can jump to. I tend not to use that very much. There's a new projects window. I just ignore that as well. I just jump to opening a file. So you can go open file over here, or file, open file, or control O. That can, and you open up whatever it is that you saved out of Zoom or PowerPoint or wherever you've made your video. I just like to grab files out of a window and drag them over, which you can't really see, but it will just appear there. Boom, there we go. Whoop, I'm going to pause that. Hi, welcome. There's an example of I recorded 30 seconds earlier on video on Zoom. Quick hint, if you're using Zoom, you can press Alt-R to start recording or to stop recording, which is kind of handy because then it's less of like looking at your mouse while you search around for the button to push. The other handy thing there is if you start talking and then you suddenly realize you've completely messed it up and you want to start again, you can just stop recording, Alt-R or the menus, and then start again, and it will save a separate file. When it gives you the little window at the end with all of your files in it, it just says video 1, video 2, video 3. So you can just delete video 1, toss it out, and go straight to video 2 and just start off where you want to start. Let's come back to here then. I've opened up a video here, and it's opened it up in this big window here, and it started playing it, and you can see there's some controls there to like play it and pause it. That's the ones you mostly use. Go back to the beginning. Now, if you're doing a really quick and dirty edit, you can grab this little thing over here, and you can chop something off the beginning. There. Job done. I've chopped a bit off the beginning. You can chop a bit off the end. But usually if you want to do anything, even a little bit more involved than that, like editing out your ums and your ahs or something like that, you need to take it down onto the timeline window. It turns out this thing down here is the timeline window. So what you have to do is grab the photo by clicking on it and drag it all the way down here, and you let go. And it thinks about it for a minute, and then it shows you this timeline. Now, those little light blue bumps, that's your audio. That's where you can see where you're talking. So over here, there's no talking, and over here, there's a gap in talking, and that's the sound. Now, editing that is a bit tricky. So there's a zoom bar here, and by dragging this zoomer along there, or by clicking the plus button, you can zoom in more. So if you're going to be doing it on any given level of granularities, I like to zoom in quite a lot now. Now, if I click on the timeline, it just selects it. If you want to control where you are in the timeline, you have to click underneath it. So if you need a bit more space, you can grab a hold of it here, and you can drag that. I like to drag it up and get a whole lot of space here. So I've got plenty of space to grab the timeline. Oh, yeah. Lesson number 1, if you freeze frame someone talking, they look really, really silly. Okay, so editing, basic. Number 1 thing that you do all the time, you pick a place like here, or maybe here, and then you use this button here, which says split at playhead, shortcut, keyboard shortcut S. It tells you right there. You do this all the time. I'm going to do that right here. And now I've got 2 segments. And if I click on this segment here to highlight it, and then I right click it, or whatever your Apple equivalent is, I can remove it. Boom, and it's gone. So if I drag my timeline back to the beginning and I start playing it, here is my video. Hi, welcome to my video in which I'm telling you stuff about Shotcut. And then, oh, there's an Did you catch that? It's okay to have a fair bit of umming in it. I'm doing a fair bit of ums in this video now. Your audience edits it out. But if they're too egregious, you can get rid of them pretty easily. And that's one of the good things about editing. So I think it's this little bump here. If you look at it, that's the and I'll just wind it back here and play it. And then, oh, there's an and there's a little lip smack. I didn't even know I was doing that. When you record video, you'll do weird stuff like that. You don't even know you were doing either. So let's snip it here at the playhead, and we'll snip it here afterwards. And then we will select that bit in the middle and right click and remove it. And now if I wind back to beforehand and play this, here we go. About Shotcut. And then I start telling you more stuff. Now, that was actually pretty seamless. Like you can barely even tell it was a cut there at all. Sometimes when you make a cut, there's a bigger jump, like your head goes from here to here. Doesn't really matter. It just looks like a jump cut in video parlance. Doesn't seem to bother anybody. Like when you, it seems very strange when you're editing it, but when you watch it, we're just quite used to watching those on TV. Okay, so let's watch. And then I go off on a bit of a digression when I'm talking about something else. And then, oh, wait, no, I realized what I was supposed to be telling about is Shotcut. And Shotcut is this thing. Oh dear, I went on a diversion, or I said something and I muffed it up and I didn't like what I was saying there. Let's cut that part out. The tricky thing is, if you look at my little audio timeline here, and then I go off on a bit of a digression when I'm talking. So if I want to cut off my digression, I have to find the beginning of it. And then I go off on a bit of a so it is about there. Is it? So I'm going to snip it there. And then I go off on a bit of a digression when I'm talking about something else. And then, oh, wait, no, I realized what I was supposed to be telling about is Shotcut. And Shotcut is this thing where you can do this thing. Oh, wait, where is Shotcut? Is it somewhere in here? So I'm going to snip that. I'm not going to be too precise. I'm going to take all that out, remove that, and more stuff. Is this thing where you can do this thing. That was kind of a weird jump, though. The easier way to do it is, if you know that you've messed up, you just, Shotcut is this thing, stop. You pause, and then because I paused here, I left a big, long, blank space that's really, really easy to cut into. Really, really easy. So if you're recording a video and you mess up, just instead of going, oh, wait, no, and start talking about the thing you meant to say, just stop, look at the camera, start on your new bit, and then it makes it way easier to edit. There's even an extra trick here, which is if you scripted a long section, and if you're recording anything at length, I actually kind of recommend scripting it. And don't write in formal written English, because then it sounds very stilted when you read it. Instead, try and write it in very informal spoken English as you mean to speak in the video. So you can even write out, yeah, see, there's this thing, and then read that and try and make it natural. If you have a long script, it can be a bit hard to find where you meant to go back to on one of these things. So what you can do is you can put in line numbers. So in Word, if that's what you've written it in, on the Layout tab, you find the Page Setup area, and then there's that little tiny little bit in the corner that you can click on to get the full Page Setup menu. When you open that up, you see it's on the Margins tab. There's 3 tabs. The first one is Margins, that's the default. The last one is called Layout. You jump to that. There's a little button at the bottom called Line Numbers. You click that, boom, you can line it. So if I come back to here, I've realized I've messed up and I've gone on digression. So I stop, I pause. Line 6. Shotcut is this thing where you can do 2 main things. So I can cut it to here, snip, select this whole big thing off the middle, remove, snip. And if I come back to here, let's play this again. Start telling you more stuff. Shotcut is this thing where you can do 2 main. See, there you go. And if that's a little weird, what you can actually do is I can click this thing and grab it, and I can drag it over to the right. And what I've done here is I've made a little black zone. Telling you more stuff. Well, Shotcut is this thing. So it suddenly just goes black for a second. And so you can make, you can get it about right. Come back to here, play it. Telling you more stuff. Shotcut is this thing where you. So there, I've made a little black thing. If you're doing audio only, you can actually introduce natural pauses. If you're talking too quickly, you can introduce a little tiny pause to pace out your speech. So I'll finish playing my thing. And do 2 main things. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna snip off the edge. Oh, snip off the end here. There we go, remove that, and there we go. I have a nicely edited video. Now, if you are going to snip in the middle of something, here is the other trick. You generally don't want to snip in the middle of talking, but you can see there are these little lulls here. So if I want to snip into one of these, the obvious way to do it is I look at, I try and avoid snipping in one of these big blue areas where you can see talking. The way to really tell is if you look at this volume bar, if I just play it here, you can see this volume bar bounces up and down. So if I snip back to here, I can actually use I'm using my left and right arrow buttons on my keyboard. I can find the place where the volume bar is at 0, there's no volume here. If I make my snip there, that'll be a perfectly seamless audio cut. So that's what I've discovered. So it looks like here I might be a little bit on the line, but I can see here I'm not. And so there is no sound there to interrupt and cut into the middle of. Now, another way you can do things is you can make one big long video and edit it down, or one big long audio thing and edit it down. Another thing you can do is you can drag in, you can just record several short segments and edit them together. So I'm going to drag another video into the pane here. So here's video part 2. And I can just drag that onto my timeline over down here. Boom. And it should whack it on the end. Now, when you do that, there's a setting to make sure you have here. There's something called ripple edits across all tracks. Make sure I've unclicked it. Here I've clicked it. Make sure you have ripple edits clicked, because otherwise what happens is when you drag it down, it starts layering it on top of it. And so the one video starts playing on top of the other video and it becomes 2 stacked tracks. And if that's what you want, fantastic. But usually you just want one video to end and the other one to start. So ripple edit, ripple just means that it'll just move things over and insert things quite nicely. So if I play this here now, there's the little black zone, and then here's more. You can also do some more things with Shotcut. I'm not sure what they are, but that's not important for our current purposes. Okay. Hi, welcome to my video in which... Whoops, and it's jumped to the beginning of my edited video. So if I wanted to, I would probably just snip this here and get rid of this bit here, remove this, and I would drag this down to make that a tiny little gap. And then I have a seamless little video that plays very, very smoothly. If I want to be really, really clever, and I don't want a black gap between them, I can actually, if I grab this video and start moving it back and forth, I can actually move it so it overlaps with the other video a bit. And as soon as I let go, it creates a transition. So if I get to here and play this, things. You can also do some more. You catch that? It does a little blur transition. Main things. You can also do some more. Yeah, and if I do a really long overlap, it would blur from one to the other more slowly. Extra points just for being fancy. Okay, now you got to the end of your video, you've edited it how you want it. The obvious thing is you hit save. There's a little problem here though. If you save it, it'll save it as like, I think, an MLT file. And that MLT file will be tiny. It'll be like a tiny little stub. And if you send that MLT to somebody or try and post it to anywhere, it won't work. It'll post as nothing. Because all that MLT file is it's a little list of internal Shotcut things like, well, when you're with this file you're editing, cut it at 3 minutes and 2 seconds, and start playing again at 3 minutes and 27 seconds. That's all it is. It doesn't have any of the video content. So as soon as that MLT file is moved away from the video file you're editing, it doesn't do anything at all. Even if you open it in Shotcut, it just says, oh, I can't find the file that it's supposed to be referring to. That's not what you want when you want to post a video. So how do you post a video? The answer is you have to export it. You can't just say, if you want to save it, that's good because you can come back and do more editing later. But once you want to post the file anywhere, you have to export it. Now, there's some little tabs down here. You can see this playlist, there's filters. That's how you do stuff like putting text on the screen or having fancier wipes or something crazy like that. Export is where you get the options for what to send it into. So if you're putting a video onto for students to look at, you can use the default settings. You can use MPEG-2, that's a pretty good option. You can even, they have a special setting for YouTube. If you want to put it on YouTube, it will just pick the optimal settings for YouTube. If you want to do audio only, which is sometimes not a bad idea, if you have something which isn't very visual, you can give it to the students as a podcast that they can just put their headphones on and go for a walk in nature or listen to it while they're doing their dishes. So if you've just got like an intro where you're talking about things, it's actually quite a handy format for them, and I think they like it somewhat often. You can save it as an MP3 here. Those are pretty universal. They work on everything. Or the other one, based on minimal internet research, the other one I'd recommend is the FLAC, the FLAC file, whatever that is. And the reason I recommend that is it's a little bit compressed so that the file isn't too big, but it's lossless. So MP3 is lossy. So every time you produce an MP3 file, it throws out some of the data and to make the file a bit smaller. And if you do that once, it doesn't really matter. But if you then go back and re-edit your MP3 and chop and change it a bit, and then save it as MP3 again, it throws out even more data, and the file just slowly gets worse and degrades. Whereas FLAC is lossless. So if you open it up and edit it, it just reproduces the original file, and you don't have to worry about it. So I kind of recommend it. The weird thing about FLAC is the file that it produces once you've exported it isn't a .flac. It's got a different ending on it, and I can't remember what that is, but it doesn't seem to matter. Audio software seems to play it pretty well. So if I export this now, I would click export file, and it would ask me where I want to save that file and some settings, and then you would see a little crawl window here with progress, and it would take sort of 5 minutes or 10 minutes to export the file. And when that crawls all the way to the end, it saved the file in that place, and then you can post it on the university's video portal or YouTube or Vimeo or wherever. So that's what I got to tell you today. Hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions, you guys know where to find me, and I may not be able to answer them, but so it goes. Good luck.